Day one of the SEC football media days here in the books at Birmingham's Winfrey Hotel. Texas A&M, one of the first teams off the docket. It was head coach Kevin Sumlin, Ryan Swope, Luke Jokel, and Sean Porter went through 3.5 hours of interviews, photos, television requests, you name it, in front of about 1,100 media members. Let's take a look at how the players reacted following today's action.
Yeah, it was a great day. I didn't really know what to expect, but overall it was special and very overwhelming. A lot of media, but well worth it. You know, I'm excited about the conference change, and I can't wait for kickoff.
It was intense, man. It was a lot of walking around, a lot of cameras, a lot of little recorders in front of us, but it was fun. It was a good introduction to the SEC.
It's crazy for sure. Never got too overwhelming, but it was a lot of fun and a lot crazier than I thought it would be.
Of course, as always is the case at these events, not all of the questions were football related.
They asked me what was the worst Halloween costume I ever wore. Like, that was a little weird. Why do you want to know that?
Well, they asked about mascots, and I don't know, I really haven't paid much attention to mascots from other schools, and they're kind of going into detail about mascots. I have no idea how to answer them.
My favorite mascot other than Rebley was probably the weirdest question I got today. It's a hard one to answer.
What'd you go with?
I didn't answer the question. I asked him, next question, please, is my response.
And of course, with one of the big topics of the day being Texas A&M's move to the SEC, here on 12th Man TV, we caught up with a lot of national media folks, got their perspective on the Aggies' move to the best conference in the country.
Well, you know, I was a skeptic. I was a skeptic and thought it was a bad move. But then I went down to College Station in the spring for practice and just saw the excitement and how, I mean, you could feel it then, you know, months before the season. So that changed my mind a little bit. You know, I'm still think it's going to be a struggle competitively, because it has been for Arkansas and South Carolina in adjusting to the league, and they don't know 11 teams, or excuse me, they don't know 12 teams. But you know, I think it's going to be a lot more fun than my first thought was.
Well, I thought Texas A&M at the very beginning was going to be a great fit for the SEC, because if you've been to Kyle Field, you know what the atmosphere is, you know how passionate people are and how much they care about football. So now it's going to be fun to watch. You know, we've seen LSU come to Kyle Field. Now I want to see Florida come to Kyle Field and Alabama come to Kyle Field, and it's going to be an immediate fit and a whole lot of fun.
What about the way that the A&M fan base has embraced the SEC move? Did that surprise you at all?
It did not surprise me one bit, because I heard there are a lot of Aggies in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I live, and I think I heard from every single one of them. And they said they were so fired up about coming into this league and what it was going to be like to go to Tuscaloosa and go to Athens and go to Baton Rouge and all those places. This is going to absolutely be a perfect fit.
I'm interested to see how they're going to do. I mean, obviously the program has a big tradition and great environment, but you know, they go into the loaded side of the SEC, the heavier side, which is, you know, it's going to be a challenge. I think frontline personnel-wise, they'll match up pretty well, especially in the front seven. It's just, you look at the SEC, it's so deep, and someone talked about it today about all of the, you know, combination of size and speed, but I think it's the depth that is such a factor that until you're in the middle of it with the attrition and week in and week out, what's going to take its toll. The thing I'm most curious about with this team is I know that Cliff Kingsbury offense and what Kevin wants to do, and there's still some good skill guys. He has a bunch of good running backs, some really good receivers, and I think the offensive line is a lot better than people outside of probably College Station realize. So I think they may surprise some people. I just wonder about defensively, you know, are they going to hold up, you know, over the course of the year?
They lost the coin flip with Missouri, I guess, because they definitely got the worst end of the divisional alignment. When you have to go into a division with LSU and Alabama and Arkansas, and even Auburn, I mean, Auburn's going to be very good this year. They were kind of rebuilding last year. They're going to be good. That is a tough road to hoe when you're coming in and you're changing coaches and trying to put in a new system. So there may be a bit of a learning curve for A&M, and not necessarily just because they're going to the SEC, but because of some of the other factors that they're dealing with. If last year's team was going to the SEC, it might have been a little easier transition because they've been together and they had a fairly cohesive unit. But this year, it's going to be tough.
some of the strengths maybe A&M brings in versus some of the challenges they're going to face?
Well, they have a great recruiting ground. One thing they have is they can go into Houston, they can go into the areas around Austin, they can go into Dallas, and there's a lot of places to shop in Texas. You can get some good players, you can get quarterbacks, you can get guys at every position, and certain states don't, produce better of one position than others. Texas produces everything. So for them, now they have kind of a brand identity also, because whereas you have these other schools selling the Big 12, they can sell the SEC. And when you see past 6 national titles, that sort of thing, that's going to be intriguing to a guy. If he wants to stay in the state and play at that level, it may intrigue him and be a deciding factor for him. So that's good. They are in one of the more fertile recruiting grounds in the league. Georgia, Alabama, Florida, those schools are also in very fertile recruiting grounds. But with Texas, you can get what you need in the state, and you can get what you need to win the league in the state.
And SI's Andy Staples also had a message for Aggie fans who will be making the trek here into SEC country. Barbecue experts in Texas, but here's what you got to do when you come to the SEC.
Pork. You're going to have to learn to embrace the pork. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're in Georgia, you're going to get a pulled pork sandwich. They're going to put some slaw on it. It's not going to be brisket with some pickles and onions and cheese slices. You're going to have to expand your mind, just like the SEC fans will have to expand their mind to brisket. But I think you guys will get along just fine.
Well, now with this event under A&M's belt, it is now time to look ahead to fall camp, and we'll have complete coverage throughout fall camp right here on 12th Man TV. Reporting from Birmingham in the Winfrey Hotel and SEC Media Days, I'm Matt Simon for 12th Man TV.